Happy time zone to each and every one of you wonderful beings out there. I think it's morning for some of us because it's morning for me, and it's probably afternoon and evening for others. Dream Cartographer is here. Hello, Dream Cartographer. Nice to see you today. I did notice, it's funny that I, have 123 followers now. And then now there's 4 viewers. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 up on my screen, which is funny. I just like numbers like that. But thank you guys so much for following me. I appreciate all you guys. Rosa Mouse says hi. And Rose the Mouse just followed me about 11 minutes ago. So thank you so much for following me. You made the 123rd follower. Yeah, so this is cool. We are... Oh, it's Katoypoi. Hello, reading through sponsored prompts while listening. Oh, wow, cool. Awesome, says Dream Cartographer. Yes, so yeah, thank you so much, you guys, for following and watching. And there is a lot to do today because I am reading through a lot of great leaders of their people. Oh no, Dream Cartographer did redeem a pause. There's an ad. So I'm going to pause. I don't know if you guys are seeing an ad right now, but Dream Cartographer is seeing an ad. If you are seeing an ad, please let me know, but you can't let me know until the ad is over. If you're not seeing an ad, please let me know because I'm trying to experiment with something. Oh, that's weird. Is it the little ad that comes up at the bottom and I can still talk? Or is it like the ad that stops my whole stream and shows a big full screen ad? Because I do know that there are some ads where the screen will shrink in and then it'll be like an ad framing the screen. And I can still, you know, you can still see me. I don't know which one that was. Probably the one where it's framing the screen. So yeah, Dream Cartographer, let me know what kind of ad that was that you saw. They were full screen. Oh, so could you couldn't hear me, you could only see me? That's very weird. I was in the corner. Like a sports game or something. That's very interesting. I don't think I've seen an ad like that before. Yeah, but before Dream Cartographer redeemed pause there's an ad, I was just basically going over the chat, and Rose the Mouse says that's true because Rose the Mouse subscribed about 13 minutes ago. Yeah, Dream Cartographer could only see me and not hear me. Okay. So yeah, Katoypoi is here and said that they are reading through some sponsored prompts while listening. So that's interesting. Katoypoi, are you also sponsoring a prompt and you're trying to get some judging in? If so, much success with that. I know it's a lot. Which prompt did you sponsor? LiaFelis says hello. Hello, thank you for joining. Toypoi says yes, need to pick a winner. So which prompt was it? No one puts a wordy in a corner, says Dream Cartographer. Very protective. But yes, I'm glad that at least you were able to, you know, redeem that. I'm working on the thing, and hopefully like pause there's an ad is helpful. I'm not sure if it'll work, but that's just a new thing that I have that hopefully I will see it and know to stop. Katoypoi says horrifically late on it. I did a tradition or ceremony which confers an honor on someone. Ooh, that was a nice one. And I'm sure there are lots of great entries. So much success with that. Yes. Speaking of that, I believe the deadline is this Wednesday. So that's not very long at all. We will blink and open our eyes and see that it's already Thursday. So we need to get a move on. Yes. speaking of that, we need to start reading some articles then. But Toy, as I said, if you do need to go so that you can concentrate on those articles, feel free. Or if you just want to mute the stream and lurk, you can do that too. It's no problem at all. I know that looking through these articles is very time consuming, and you want to devote your attention to them if you do choose to look at them instead of, just randomly generating a number or, only looking at a certain amount of them. Whatever you're trying to do, much success with your judging. And I totally understand if you can't stay on the stream. Oh, Dream Cartographer says you got to judge the pun. Yeah, Katoy Place says probably I'm at the point where they're all blending together. Yeah. It can get kind of repetitive sometimes. I mean, like when you're reading a lot of them, you may not notice this as individual articles, but I've seen like even these great leaders, they're all very interesting and they're all very unique, but there's a couple of like standout sentences that I'm seeing through all of them, which is funny. Like I wouldn't normally be paying attention to that, but when you're just reading them over and over again, all in a row, it does start blending together. So yeah, totally understandable if you do need to jet to do that, because that is quite a task. Dream Cartographer is saying that you get to judge the pun because I did create an article for this category as well, and since my character is named someone, I used that as a pun since it confers an honor on someone. So I just decided to write about the fact that someone became an elite in less than a year. So that was just the little thing I did. But that's funny because one of the main things I keep seeing with these great leaders is that they rise up in the ranks, like almost worded exactly like that. Like rise up in the ranks so fast, which is it's understandable. A lot of talented great leaders do rise up in the ranks very fast, and even I'm guilty of putting that in my article. So yeah, understandable. Katoy Poi says, I read 400 plus last year. Oh my chinny chin chin, that's a lot. Tried to read all of them this year, but I don't have enough spoons, so I had to get more discerning. How to become elite, I remember it actually. Oh, so you did read it already. Thank you for checking that out. Yeah. But, yes, as I said, much success. 400 is quite a lot. This year, I only had 325, and some of those were multi-pass. Unfortunately, I was not able to access them. But the ones that I was able to access, there were still, like, over 300. So, it's quite a lot. And I will let you get to that. Speaking of that, I should get into this. Did I not? Okay, so these are done. I just did not update my I did not update my spreadsheet as I'm supposed to. I am like all over the place. This is somehow organized, but it's not organized like at the same time. It's very weirdly organized. Supposedly organized, but like, I know what it means. I know what all these colors mean. I don't expect anybody else to know about them, and it's helping me, so that's the good thing. And then I do that because I believe I did those. These are the ones I did last time. Okay. So, by the way, if you are in the chat and you would like me to read your article, please do comment and purchase from the store. Doesn't cost real money. Just buy a Wisp item that says, read my article, please, and tell me your World Anvil username so that I can go ahead and look you up on the spreadsheet. Rose the Mouse says, Katoy Poi read my article as well. At least I guess because I got a like. Ah, that's awesome. Yes, if I liked it, I read it, says Katoy Poi. A great way to keep track of things. Dream Cartographer says, so many articles. I don't know how you guys do it. Yeah, I honestly don't know how to do it either. And I'm like at the point where I'm wondering, am I going to really be able to do all these before Wednesday? Because time is like gone. Can you believe we're already 2/3 into August? And basically, it's going to be like October tomorrow. Because once you get past summer camp, like I said, once you get past summer camp, it's Christmas. Like time just disappears. I don't know where it goes. It's gone. I feel like now I see harvest stuff in the store. I see back to school stuff. I know some people are going back to school already, but it's just like, I'm like, where did the summer go? It's still here, but you know. Rosamel says, my World Emily username is Tuisku. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Leader's name is Femur. Yes, I did see that, and I was meaning to respond, but over the weekend it was quite busy. So thank you for showing up in chat and letting me know that you are here so that I can read your article right now. There we are. This is Femur by Tuisku, or Tuisku. Not sure how to pronounce. Please let me know how to pronounce. I'm going to put this in the chat so that people can check you out. Dream Cartographer says the year is dying. Yeah, it's like a candle at the very end. It's like, oh wow, too late. Right, well, LiaFelis has ordained to read my article as well. Thank you so much for sharing that, and you are next. But first, we are going to check out Femur, which is an interesting name for a character. Femur, Nim Farron language. And basically, I guess this is must be a comlink? Interesting. This is very interesting and intricate. So if you would like to if you would like to check out more about Femur and this world, please do click that link in the chat so that you can explore different things. Conlangs are so interesting, and it looks like it's very well thought out, and the article was very informative. Rosamel says, you as good as it can be for a Finnish name, I guess. LiaFelis says, sorry, I'm new here and need some time to find all those features and buttons. No problem at all. You did it quite well. You did redeem your article, so thank you. If you do need help around in Twitch, because sometimes it's quite a lot, just let me know. Rosamel says, your pronunciation of my name, I mean. Oh yeah, I get it. Okay. Yes, because I was trying to say Tuisku, but I don't know. Yeah, it's probably very like accent reliant where I have to say it a certain way, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to do that right now. But other languages are very interesting, and Conlang is too, so this is already an impressive article. I see it's quite short, so we can read the whole thing. Femur, and then it says Nim Farron language Darby, so I don't know if that means that in the Conlang his name is Darby, and you know, most people speaking common would call him Femur, maybe? Not sure if that's what it means. That's what I would assume. Please let me know if that is incorrect. He's the king of the stone giants of Bonehold, and there's links to both of those things, which is good. And the biggest and strongest of them all. So this is by Rose the Mouse. If you don't mind me calling you Rose the Mouse, because this name right here, it's a nice name. I just don't want to keep messing it up. Crayon.com. I wonder, is that some kind of AI software? I have never heard of it. Rose the Mouse says yes, it's a common name, which means the same as femur in English. Got it. Kawaii says Megalodon. Hello, Megalodon. Thank you for stopping by. Construction of Bonehold. Deep in the time of wander, Femur led his people to the mountains and began constructing his great fortress, Bonehold. While the giants were at work, the tunnels led so deep within the earth that they dug a hole into the underworld. The waters of the deep poured out, creating Farinos, silver stream. Very interesting world building as well. Oh, and there's a map here. Nice. I wonder, how did you create this map? It's very quaint and interesting. I can click here and see if there's a credit to the map. Yeah, I don't see credits. Oh, there it is. Map created by me with Incarnate Pro. Awesome. Great, cool. I love that you credit your images so that we can know. Rosamel says, yes, that's an AI site. Very interesting. Rain. After finding the passage to the underworld, Femur forcefully married Anda to him, a goddess that he took hostage from the underworld, and together they produced the powerful race of the stone giants. Whoa. Interesting. So, defeat. Femur was one of the giants that were defeated and killed during the Giant Wars. The hero Asinar traveled to the underworld to search for her father, Litandar. She managed to trick the giants and gain the entrance to the land of the dead. There, for the release of his father, she promised to help Ulate, the lord of the underworld, in defeating the giants that were occupying the gates of the underworld. Ulate or Ulati? I don't know. Raised a great flood that forced the giants to flee to the plains where the humans, with the help of the gods, could defeat them in battle. After Femur's defeat, Usinyar blade of Greystone was found on him, and this potent artifact was transferred into the possession of Ferinwell. So, already, very interesting world, very deep lore. It's reminding me of, like, mythology stories. Yeah, so as we see, he was supposed to be a great leader of his people, but of course some did see him as a villain, and at the end his defeat was spelled out. He did forcefully marry a person, which isn't very good. So yes, I like how this article is just telling you the facts about him. You can choose, you know, whether you think that he was an awesome guy, or if you were like, I don't really, you know, care for what he did. So it just tells us a little story. The nice thing also about this article is it just tells us a little story about what happened, and it showcases the character and shows how he was considered a great leader of his people, to, you know, the stone giants, of course. I'm sure that they they held him highly, and he, you know, made great progress for them. So, yeah, this is a very interesting article. I like how it's told in story form. I see that the sidebar is a bit longer than the body. So I would think maybe if we could just add like a quote or something from him, perhaps that would make these even. That's just a pet peeve of mine. I like to make sure that the sidebar is even with the contents. But other than that, very interesting article. I love how everything is linked so that we can find out more about things that we don't know about. So yes, thank you once again, Rose the Mouse, for sharing this article. World Keymaster is here. Hello, World Keymaster, just sweeping by, working today, and wish you a pleasant reading. Good time zone to all. Good time zone to you, World Keymaster, and much success with work. Thank you for stopping by and saying hello. Thank you again, Rose the Mouse, for sharing that article. Next, we have LiaFelis. Rose the Mouse says, thanks for the feedback. Wish I had more time to polish it, but I was going for diamond. That was the same with me. A lot of my articles are like short. Once I reach 300 words, done. Hurry up, go to another article. Because it was so much. And summer camp was so busy, and, you know, that's how it is. So to be expected. There are some, you know, grammar issues. Of course, there are some spelling issues sometimes, but all those things are to be expected because we were just worried about getting the words down, and that's what we did, and that is awesome. So that should be considered a great accomplishment. LiaFelis, are you still here? If you are, we are about to go over your article, and please let me know if I am mispronouncing anything. Dream Cartographer has contributed 500 total to the Twitch Party Challenge. Thank you, Dream Cartographer, for contributing. And if you would like to contribute to that, it's just going to be where I have a fun stream where I just do the fun things that you guys want me to do. And I play games and stuff like that, not reading articles, just listening to the chat and letting you guys kind of just take over the chat. If you like that and think that sounds like a fun thing, then please do contribute to the goal. Thank you so much, Katoy Boy, for contributing. Rosamel says, I'm happy how well I could connect all the different articles, and I got a lot of new ideas for the future, so it was an awesome challenge. Yes, that's the best thing when summer camp is actually beneficial to you. It's not supposed to be like I'm running around, I'm panicking, you know. It's supposed to be, this is helping me. And it's so great that you got a lot of things out from your world and a lot of things that you can work with after summer camp together. So that is an awesome accomplishment. May has redeemed a read my article, please. Thank you so much. And I will read your article right after we're done with Asariah, Gaelira, Venynore, királynő. Not sure how to pronounce that name, unfortunately. It's a very long, elaborate, and beautiful name. And I do see this article is in a different language. So I am going to, so I have now used the power of Google Translate, which is not the best. Admittedly, it's not. But the good thing about Google Translate is that I can just, with the click of a button, bada bing, bada boom, make the article appear into English so that I can read it. And yes, I do know that some things will get lost in translation, and it's not going to be as good as the article was as it was written in its native language, unfortunately. But, yes, Rose the Mouse recognizes it's Hungarian, and that means queen. Yes, and it translated over to queen. So, thank you for that. And did I post in the chat already about LiaFelis? Yes, I did. You guys can go to that article, and if you do know the native language, if you do know the native language, you can read it yourself, because it might be better. Dream Cartographer says, weird on mobile, but Google Translate isn't popping up. I don't know if I've tried on mobile, so maybe try holding down the page or pressing the 3 dots in the corner. Oh, you got it? Got it. Great, great. Awesome. So yeah, if you're able to read it in native language, or if you want to copy and paste it into a different translator that's a little better, feel free. I am just trying to do this because it's most convenient for me, but I do understand some things may get lost in translation, and it may not be the best. But I apologize for that, but I thank you for sharing this article, LiaFelis. Yes, so anyway, Queen, Asariah, Gaelira, Venynore. Venynore. Not sure. Please do correct me if it's wrong. The founding queen of today's Asariah. She lived at the end of the First Age, and there are links to these things, which is great. Her father was a forest elf living on the island of Elia Bay, and there's a link to that. The leader of the Erkas tribe, Rathal Lathai Revevin, became the first hunter of the community very early, at only 320 years old. Very funny that they became the first hunter of the community very early at only 320 years old. That is not considered young for some, but I see that, yeah, in this world, that is considered young. So, nice. I do see, yes, they're elves, of course, so they have long lives. Dave 15 Pro says hello. Hello. Thank you. He said that I'm beautiful. Thank you. We are reading articles from awesome people on World Anvil who have written about their great leaders of their people. And this one is Queen Asariah. So let's see. Excuse me. Under his leadership, the tribe not only retained their former territories against the rival Kalu and Errol tribes, but also established 2 new settlements in the eastern part of the island. Warfare tied up the first hunter. He only chose a side late. His wife, Mera Liahis Vesati, became the high priestess of their creator goddess. And there's a link to that. They had 1 child, Asariah, but by this time, his father had passed the leadership to his cousin, Dane Selah Jinbalar. So this tells, that was just a little story about her parents, so now it's telling about her childhood. Being a girl child, Asariah was destined to follow in her mother's footsteps from the moment she was born. At the age of 30, she had to leave her parents' home and was raised and educated in the sanctuary, apart from her family. After her father's death, the grieving Asariah was tempted by Dane, the first hunter, to betroth her adopted son Lorsen, despite Maria's protests. However, after many years of healing his tribe's war-wounded warriors, Asariah had other plans. The then 94-year-old priestess, with the help of her mother, escaped the betrothal and fled to Kalu territory, where she married Castian Fulur Loreril, the tribe's then elected widowed first hunter. With Castian's military experience, with the advice of Asariah and the enlistment of the priestesses of the Kalu sanctuary, the Errol tribe was brought to its knees and melted down in just 5 years. Meanwhile, Dane executed Maria for treason, but Asariah only learned of this when Castian challenged him to a duel and defeated Lorsen and the new Erika's leader, 32 years after the first hunter's death. With that, the Kalu seemed to gain complete control over the island. However, during the victory feast, Castian was poisoned. The priestess was absent. Asariah was expecting her first child at their home in Filone. And in the ensuing chaos, many Urkas, hunters, and leaders fled the area. Asariah did not wait for the Kalu to choose a new first huntress from among themselves. She herself stepped into the head of the tribe as high priestess. 2 weeks later, son Petrick Byrne Dordov. After his birth, he personally led his hunters after the fugitives. That's how he got there. Kefalin to his island, where the Tanil and Seda tribes, like his home, were in a standing war of control over the island. The elderly matriarch of the Tanil tribe, High Priestess Ina Shale, Miakas, offered Asariah an alliance, knowing that with the help of the Queen Kaylu, the help of Queen Kaylu, then called but not yet crowned, they could defeat the aggressive Seda tribe led by the first hunter, who had taken in the Urka's leaders. Asariah reorganized the army, fearing that the two other tribes remaining on Lilan Nason would revolt in absence. I think it's saying in her absence, she elected troops of mixed descent, careful to ensure that Kaylu hunters were in the majority everywhere. She took the rest of the warriors, Erkas and Errol, who became subjects, and her own bodyguards to help the Tannels. However, she had to wait for the fulfillment of her revenge. The Seda warriors, in a terrain unknown to Asariah among the mountains of Kathalin, they made the job of the High Priestess very difficult. 8 years later, Lorsan was captured and executed, and the Queen returned to Filone. Yeah. So, as we say, it is supposed to be she, her, but it keeps mixing up and saying he, him. Rosamouse says Google Translate. Mistranslating ungendered pronouns is always fun. Yep, everybody's a man, says LiaFelis. Unfortunately. And I was like, it looks like it's trying to say her. So, this is one thing that I wanted to clear up. So, after 2 weeks later, after the son's birth, it wasn't saying that the son led the hunters after the fugitives, was it? Because I'm like, I know they're elves, but 2 weeks? I don't think that that could happen. I think that it was trying to say 2 weeks after she gave birth, she went and led her hunters out. Is that what it was saying? Please let me know. If the child, after 2 weeks of birth, was leading armies, please clarify that for me, because Google Translate is horrible. Yes. Yes to what? Yes to the child leading 2 weeks? Or yes to that was actually 2 weeks after she gave birth, she left the kid, and she was leading the armies? Asariah went to war. Thought so. I'm like, that's not right. It's saying it like the little baby after 2 weeks started leading the war. I'm like, I don't think that's correct. Okay, thank you. So, yeah, her reign, it should say. Once Asariah finished her campaign on the Kathalin Islands, she established her own empire. As High Priestess, she had the support of the church behind her. Priestesses also have a strong influence on local leadership in Forest Elf culture, and she was willing to put aside anyone who questioned her power or competence without delay. At the age of 145, she crowned herself Queen, Kaylu. During her rule, she ensured peace over the 7 tribes through political and military means. She assigned the descendants of former leaders to her court with the intention that the young people could get to know each other. As expected, the closeness resulted in quite a few marriages between the children of the different tribes. She introduced uniform laws and taxes and maintained a regular army, a member of the First Order of the Dragon. And there is a link to that. Her heritage. Asariah did not remarry. So after her death, at the age of 604, her only child inherited the throne. On the advice of his mother, King Petrick kept Gaelira in its former position and changed the country's name to Asariah in her honor. Asarian's banner shows the colors of 2 fields, Urka's silver and Kaylu's green, in memory of the first queen. All right, so that was a very interesting article. Unfortunately, Google Translate was being horrible and started making things very confusing for us. But I kind of get the gist of the character. I kind of get the how she carries herself, how she made her decisions, why she's considered a great leader. Sorry, it's long, says LiaFelis. No, it's not. That was not quite long at all. There have been way longer articles than this. I was kind of able to read that whole thing. I think I skipped some of this youth unfortunately, because it started getting confusing with the child and stuff. But it's okay. For one, if you're able to read it in native language, please do. For another, if you have a better translator than Google Translate, please use that if you have time. But thanks once again for sharing. I know I cannot make comments on the pronoun switching and the grammar issues because that is all coming from Translate. I'm sure it was good in your own language. What I would suggest is, as we see that, you see the sidebar. It's very short. Just a thing that I have. I like the sidebar to be at length with the body. So one of the things is you can either just delete it because there's like nothing here. But there is a good thing. There's, it says eyes Lila. Is it lilac? Does it mean? And then Haj, which I assume is probably hair. And it's black. So yeah. Even though we don't have a portrait, we have a brief description of her. Yes, purple, lilac. I figured it was meaning lilac. Yeah, and then black hair. So, it's a very interesting character. It doesn't have much description of her appearance, which probably would be something that you could also add to the sidebar to help to expand it. I also like how there's like lots of links to other things that we don't know about. So you can also use this to have article blocks instead of just, you know, links to it, because links are very short. If you put an article block, it'll have the whole thing with a picture and a little bit of words, so it'll be like a whole rectangle, and then you can kind of use this to fill up this sidebar. And I know this, like here, I think that you probably have the article, but it's probably not done because it's bolded, but it's not a link. But when you do get done with that one, maybe you can put those all in the sidebar, and doing that kind of thing will probably help to fill up the sidebar. You can also maybe add a quote or two from her. And some people, I've seen a lot of people putting family trees over there. So if you can talk, you talked about her mother and father already, and you talked about her husband that she married, and you talked about her child that she had. So already that's 3 generations that you can put into a family tree, and then just embed the family tree in the sidebar. But whatever you want to do, thank you so much for sharing this article. Once again, if you're able to read it in native language, it will probably make much more sense and probably be way better than my horrible reading of it via Google Translate. But thanks once again, LiaFelis, for sharing that with us. Next, we have May Krawczyk. I don't know if I said that correctly. But yeah, we will find that article. I believe their username is the same on World Anvil as it is on Twitch. I've seen this name before. I'm just wondering, does it have the underscores on World Anvil? I'll try. I'm gonna see. It may not. We'll find out. Nope. I don't think it has the underscores. Alright, if all else fails, they did put the name of their leader. So, I'm just gonna search the leader's name because their name is not coming up. There we are! Yes! Oh, so there's periods between. Okay. I see they did say in the chat. It is, and that's how it's pronounced. It doesn't have underscores, sorry. Yes, Stream Cartographer says, think they linked it already. Yes, they did. But this is the thing. I want to search it in a spreadsheet so I can keep track. Because if I link it to the... If I just click the link, I'm not going to remember what I did. And then things will get messy really fast. Also, some people have accidentally, like, linked me the wrong article. And so when I go to the spreadsheet, it's not really the Great Leader that I'm reading. The Great Leader's on the spreadsheet, but, like, the other one was the Explorer or something like that. And, yes, the articles are awesome, but that's not helping me to quickly get through these. So that's the reason why I'm trying to use the spreadsheet as much as possible, or everything will turn to chaos. And that is not what we need, especially as the day is quickly approaching. And yeah, thank you for your patience with me trying to work with these spreadsheets, because I have to. All right. All right, and I'm putting the link in the chat again for you guys, just in case you don't see it, even though May did post it earlier. I just want to make sure that you can find it right now as I'm reading it right now. I wonder, I pronounced your username correctly. I wonder if I'm able to pronounce this correctly. Niconamia H. Siacelyn. I'm not sure if that was right. Niconamia H. Siacelyn. I'm not sure. AKA Nico. Ooh, alright. Quite a cool pick. And I can tell that this is like an interesting character, interesting clothes. It looks kind of tech. It looks like it could be steampunkish with those glasses. It's properly credited and made in Hero Forge, which is awesome. If you guys do want to see Hero Forge, it's really nice. If you guys go on Hero Forge, you can just customize your characters and just make great characters. It's a very interesting software, and it's so customizable. But yeah, I do see this is not too long of an article. Oh, without glasses. Very interesting and intricate detailing on the face. Oh, it might be a different person. Yes, I see the skin color is slightly different. Nico, and this says Nietzsche. Alright, so that's somebody else. Well, let's read the article so that we can figure out. Dream Photographer says, ooh, pick is so cool. Yes, very sleek. Why the downcast face? Her sister inquired as she entered their parents' home. Did you hear about the move? Dekot Duhan announced this morning. The clan is leaving. They're going across the divide. And I see there's a slight spelling error here, but it's fine. Helenia watched her for a long moment, her expression troubled and brooding. I can't go, Helenia finally admitted, her voice cracking on the confession. I have to try, Nietzsche. What if I could change things? What if we could make a difference? So this is an interesting thing about, this is an interesting conversation, and it makes me very curious about the world and what's going on. So it does pull you into the articles so you can read, like, what is happening here. Before she became Niconamia Siacelyn, oh, she was Nietzsche Solarahen, an old ancestral name meaning the incandescent glow of yellow moonlight upon the shimmer of swamp water through wispy frog. That is interesting. So, this is the same person as we thought. So this was her before she became Nico. So that's very interesting, and we will want to see what happened to her to change her so much. Also, as Rose the Mouse says, I already want to know what the divide is. Exactly. I would love to know way more about this world. I do like how I see some links peppered through. I don't know if there's a link to the divide or not, but yes, that would be a very interesting thing to learn about, because I see that they, yeah, it's a very emotional topic with these two sisters discussing this move, this divide. But yes, the other interesting thing is the fact that Nietzsche Solarahen, which I know I'm pronouncing wrong, is an old ancestral name meaning the incandescent glow of yellow moonlight upon the shimmer of swamp water through wispy fog. And that is a very intricate name meaning and a very specific name meaning, which is pretty funny and still very interesting and cool, because I do know that there's a lot of names that mean specific things like that. And while it is quite comical, it's very also sometimes very meaningful, especially with different languages, and they name their people something that's very significant, usually regarding nature and things like that. So I like to see that interesting name meaning, and that gives a taste to the world and to the character. So in Odian, the name roughly translates to glowing mist. So a lot of that poetic poetry is cut out. But still, I like how you put the original translation on there as well, because it's a very interesting name meaning. Born into a Sylvestra clan on the western bank of the Nifama, and there's a link to that, she spent her first 30 years learning as much as she was allowed, avoiding the entrapments of youth. At 30, she was accepted as a student by the clan's Decote? I'm not sure. There's a link to it. And spent the next 99 years training under the Elder's instruction. Weeks before she was meant to take the KajetanWrites, and there's links to those, and gain her title, she was informed that her teacher had placed a ban upon her genetic code. She would never be allowed to perform those rites. She would never be a Deco. Shortly after this incident, Nico and her sister chose to leave their clan in order to travel to the Odeya capital city of Adachia. Since her clan had recently decided to relocate beyond the Western Divide, they were able to travel together with the clan caravan for the first 1,000 kilometers, but after that, the sisters were on their own. Once alone, Nico convinced her sister Helena to aid her in a ceremony she had learned from her clan's Deco. The ceremony altered her phenotypical expression in order to give her every appearance of being a natural-born Odeya. Since her it looks like there was a missing word here, not sure. Since her something was able to naturally pass for Odeya, the ceremony was only performed on Nico. Oh, I'm thinking since her sister was able to naturally pass for Odeya. So I guess the Odeyans look a little bit more like this, and her sister already could pass for this. But she looked like this, and her skin tone was greener, and I guess she had to disguise herself so that she can be fit in, which is kind of sad. KajetanWrites is here. Hi, hello. Yeah, so when the sisters finally arrived at Adachia, Nico took initiative, and sold the gifts their clan and parents had handed them at their parting. Regardless of any sentimental value, the gifts were worth enough to finance a new wardrobe and a week's stay at a hostel. Nico did not stint when she purchased their clothing, even going as far as to contract a tailor to have the most expensive garment fitted to each of them. After taking the measures, I think, instead of measured. After taking the measures to make sure they would fit in, at least upon a cursory glance, into the societies she wanted to infiltrate, Nico suggested that she and her sister attend a few of the events that took place in the richest districts. How Nico got herself and her sister access to these events has been greatly speculated, but most likely she simply hacked the guest registry and added their names, which shows this is like a tech world. I thought so, and looked kind of tech. It was at one of these events at the Kopek estate where Nico's fateful meeting with Cylindra Equata Palovi Kopek took place, and that's quite a name, and there is a link to that article as well. It is widely regarded as the moment that changed the course of Silver's future, as it is very unlikely that Nico would have been able to achieve all that she did without Cylindra's assistance and advice. Nico was notoriously awkward in social situations, often misunderstanding people's meaning or taking comments at face value, or even literally. Not only was Cylindra the face of their efforts, but she is also believed to have been an instrumental political influence throughout Nico's ascension to leadership. The Nico question has spread like a whole breach since the breaking news about the Odean hero figure and leader Niconamia Siacelyn was leaked. Many have condemned the actions revealed into leaked documents and memos, but others have a very different view of the choices that were made not so very long ago. When we return at 7, we will be speaking with Professor Axidian, a synth representative and leading expert on ethical leadership. Professor Axidian has agreed to share an excerpt from their upcoming research paper on the new thesis of ethical evil. Join us as we discuss, the political and philosophical impact of these revelations from Silveraxe tonight at 7. Quote from an ONN3 news stream. Once again, this dream cartographer just said it. The world and the character story sounds super interesting. It really does. And when you see them, it seems like they might be fantasy characters, but there's like that hint of tech into it. So then it makes you think, is this like steampunk? Is this futuristic? It's very interesting. They may even be on a different planet. Yes, futuristic, urban fantasy vibes, says Dream Cartographer. I like how there is a little news excerpt, which is very nice. I talk about these as well. May says, thank you. I wish I had polished this one a bit more. KajetanWrites says, was my leader article already read, or were you waiting for me to show up? If you would like me to read your article, please do redeem a read my article, please, little wisp, and I will go ahead and read it. If you didn't attend one of my streams before and get it read, I probably did not read it yet. So please do redeem that and let me know your username on World Anvil, which I think is the same. If it's the same, you can just say same, and then I will find you in my spreadsheet. But thank you so much for appearing, Kajtan. Let's see. So this is the annoying part. Relationships. World Anvilites have been kind of asking Demetrius to do something about these because they are kind of big and obnoxiously standing in the way of an article. And there's no way to like minimize them or anything. But other than that, the sidebar is quite at length with the words. If you could just put like one article block over here just to fill up the rest, it will be perfect. It's just these annoying relationships that are just getting in the way. But I see that the sister relationship, she doesn't really, you know, this is interesting how they feel towards each other. And then how she feels towards Cylindra. So these kinds of relationship things are good to have in the article because it shows you like their internal feelings about each other. But they're annoying because they're big blocks and they sometimes take up the whole page. But I would suggest just putting an article block over here. There's a couple of spelling errors, grammar errors, and you know, comma. Missing punctuations and stuff, but that is all to be expected. So yes, already this article is very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing. This makes me want to read way more about this world and figure out more about these characters. Thank you so much again for sharing this article. Rose the Mouse says, yep, I wish the relationships were showing up nicer. Yes. Exactly. So thank you once again for sharing that. That is awesome article. I appreciate it, and that is very interesting. I will want to go back and share and look at the world a little bit more and figure out more things about it because it's so interesting. There we are, Mark Becker. Oh, you're right here. Okay, so next we are going to KajetanWrites, and we are going to read about leader Mark Becker. And I will link that in the chat as well, so you can go check it out. But yes, as I was saying, that was a nicely constructed article. The story was nice. I just would want the little sidebar maybe to be extended, and of course it to be cleaned up a bit with the grammar and stuff like that. But other than that, thank you so much for sharing. That was a nice one, and I enjoyed reading it. So now we have this. It's not too long of an article. Mark Becker. It is in a world called the Galaxy, so I assume this is quite sci-fi or something like that. Mark Becker was one of the attendees. I think it's missing an E. Yes, sci-fi, says Kajetan. Of the International Restoration Committee's summit in London, 2155. Yes, it seems like this is futuristic, unless they're like on a different world as well. Kajetan says, I wasn't very creative with the world name. No problem. It's fine. Sometimes you can have a world placeholder name for years and then decide, hey, I know what to call it now. Like, I've had characters, like my medieval fantasy characters, I didn't even know what the place they were in is called. But I had all these stories, and I had to just figure out what is the place called so I can publish it. And I'm like, I don't have to do that. I just can just publish short stories now, and when I come up with the name of the place, then, you know, everything will fall into place. So that's understandable. But also, things like the Galaxy is a good thing to keep if you don't want it to be a placeholder. If you just want it to be called the Galaxy, that is an interesting choice, and that is appreciated a lot. Like, it's just plainly the Galaxy. The only problem is, like, when people start searching you on Google, a lot of other stuff will come up. But, you know, if you want it to be called the Galaxy, it's good to be called the Galaxy. Same with, like, Secret Agent Someone. I literally just have them name someone. So it's funny. It's funny to have that thing. Sometimes it's like on purpose, like this is the Galaxy, and then you can do lots of puns with it because the world is called that. Rosamel says my world name, Siacelyn, literally means lands in Con language. Oh, that's good. That's great. That's a good little Easter egg too, that you know that what it means in Con lang. Dream Cartographer says assert dominance via SEO. Yes. So you might soon start coming up when people search the Galaxy. So yeah, sounds good. Anyway, let's read about this character. He went to the International Restoration Committee's summit in London, 2155, and was one of the founding fathers of the United Republic of Earth. Ooh, and there's a link to that with a little tooltip, which is nice. I like that. He was the commander-in-chief of the Western European Defense Force, a paramilitary force keeping the peace in the former territories of Germany, the Low Countries, France, Spain, and Portugal. Mark is remembered as a both kind and ruthless leader. He was kind to his people and everyone who wanted to work for the betterment of Earth and humanity, but was ruthless and cruel to everyone who opposed him. Interesting character. The historical archives of the Republic contain evidence of many morally questionable acts of soldiers of the WEDF. Many of these acts were conducted, probably, with Mark's knowledge and approval. So interesting. He was 80 years old, human, brown eyes, short brown hair, white skin, has known languages, English and French, has affiliations there. I would suggest already that, you know, some of these links like this You can also put them in article blocks under this sidebar so that it can extend, you know, and be at length with the contents of the body. That's just my my personal preference, so that there's not just a naked spot over here. Especially because we don't have any art of him, but it's okay because we have his description. We still would like to maybe add a quote or two from him and maybe put like article blocks here just to fill up the spot. Mark was born in 2110 to a couple of refugees from Great Britain who settled in northern France. His whole life he's been fighting for survival among the ruins. At the age of 20, he joined a paramilitary group known as the known as the Civil Defense of Normandy. And one of the organizations, I think it means organizations, that later formed the Western European Defense Force. In the group, Mark displayed a natural talent for leadership and quickly rose through the ranks. This is something I was talking about earlier. I've seen that so much, but it's good because lots of great leaders do quickly rise through the ranks. But it's surprising to see all the people who have put the words quickly rose through the ranks in these leader articles. To become the group's second in command, he took over the command of the group in 2148 after the previous commander had been killed in an army airstrike. By that time, it says by that time, but it's okay. More and more people were starting to understand that the war can't be won and some sort of agreement must be reached to allow the rebuilding process of Earth to start. Mark was one of them. On the territories that controlled by the Civil Defense of Normandy, he started to implement a project that aimed at giving the civilian population better living conditions and more safety from attacks. Groups in other regions of France saw what Mark was doing and one by one started to join him. Quickly, the Civil Defense of Normandy controlled almost all of the former territories of France. Seeing that, Mark proclaimed the provisional government of the Sixth French Republic. In April 2150, Mark took part in a summit of world leaders which took place in Warsaw, the former capital of Poland. There, he was one of the signatories of the Warsaw Armistice, a treaty which ended the hostilities and allowed the rebuilding process to continue. The rebuilding process to continue, I think it means, without problems. Mark also became a member of the International Restoration Committee. In 2155, Mark took part in IRC Summit in London, which is what we were talking about. And yes, this is a handy tooltip to remind us what it was mentioned in the first paragraph, which is interesting. And I love tooltips, by the way. There, he was one of the founding fathers of the United Republic of Earth, the first ever world government. Mark received only basic education. He knew how to read, write, and count. He also knew a little bit of literature, but that is where his more sophisticated education ended. Such things were considered a useless luxury in the time of war. Mark's parents focused on teaching him how to survive and obtain food. Mark was a person that cared about others and often placed the needs of others over his own. There's a lot of stories showing him giving his own food rations away to feeding the starving civilians. Mark was a stubborn man. People from his surroundings in the Civil Defense of Normandy, the Provisional Government, and the WEDF were telling stories of how Mark would pressure someone into giving him what he wanted. He had no problems in ordering his men to pacify. And there's a tooltip that says understatement. Really cheeky. Whole communities that opposed him. So interesting, and I like that, I like the tooltip usage. I like the fact that this article is also like kind of comical, is throwing in a little bit of wit there and here and there. The thing is, this tells a whole story, which is interesting and very engaging. My only other thing would, other than the slight spelling errors, slight punctuation, grammar errors, I would just say, please do extend the sidebar if you'd like to, adding article blocks or quotes from the character, or portraits, or whatever you'd like to add. But other than that, thank you so much for sharing this article. Kajetan says, I will look into it after the award ceremony. Yes. And I just realized that after the award ceremony, I will have to go over summer camp articles and correct all the spelling and grammar mistakes. Oh no, well, it's okay. You don't have to worry about it too much. But yes, if you have free time and you want to do that, feel free. Yeah, so I'm just giving you advice, but you don't necessarily have to take it, and also you don't have to fret about it, because this is good that you got the words onto the page and we know about this character now. And it's very interesting. I would love to learn even more about him, because I see that he is a very interesting personality. Thank you so much again to everyone who has shared their articles. If somebody else is lurking in the chat and they would like me to read their article, please do post and redeem a read my article please, which will help me to be able to see you and you know, read your article. Dream Cartographer said yes, the article is quite comprehensive. Yes, it is. Let me see if there is, because I did get some notifications. I want to see if I have permission to. Yep, so we can go to this next one. Dream Cartographer says, well done to Kajetan. And Kajetan says, thank you for the read. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. Next, we are just going to go ahead and read some of these articles where the author may not be able to attend. So this is Rath Silveraxe, and it is by JaxRedhammer, which is an interesting name. I'm going to link it in the chat so that you guys can check it out yourself. Alright, Rath Silveraxe. And this has a little thing on it. What does that say? Ah! It did not show me. Oh. artofmiro.com. Okay. I saw it was credited. I just couldn't see what it said. Alright, Rath Silveraxe wears black leather armor, white shirt, and a red scarf tied around his neck. Not much is known about Rath before he arrived in East Haven. Some recall hearing bits and pieces of his life, but no one really knows. I heard him say once that he lost his entire group once because he would not leave some ruins without grabbing everything. Unknown dock worker. Nice use of quotes. When Rath arrived in town, he went to our adventuring guild for work and was shocked to see that it was just a back room of an inn. He offered the innkeeper 100 GP for rights to the guild and bought the store next door. Within 10 years, he had enough warehouses to cover a few blocks. 5 years later, he had 17 different guilds doing business within the city and had the biggest guild in all the realm. So already this is an interesting article. It told a little quote that let us know a little bit about the character. It shows us that he's mysterious. Not many people know much about him before he arrived in East Haven, but then also we figure out this article is being narrated by a person in the world, which is always interesting. From what is known, Rath had only been an adventurer before coming to East Haven. Now he runs the entire city. He has more authority than the king. Wow. He's quite a guy then. Rath took over the guild 10 years ago when it was still small and operated out of a back room of a tavern. Now it covers a 4-block section of East Haven and has become the largest adventurers guild in the realm. It currently has 50+ adventuring groups active at all times. Rath's only goal in life was to make as much coin as he could. By the end of his life, he would have made a Scrooge McDuck look poor. That is interesting also. The mention of Scrooge McDuck in this world. That's why I like these kinds of things, and it gives you like a, this is the author telling you about it. Or is Scrooge McDuck canon in the world? Very interesting. Rath seemed to see the value in everything, even if it was worthless. He knew that there was someone out there that needed whatever it was that he found. Rath took over the East Haven Adventuring Guild in 1367, not long after it was formed. He continued to run the guild until his death in 1405. Rath is affiliated with all 17 guild halls in East Haven and has positive relationships with most. As the head of the Council of Guildmasters, he has contacts with organizations all over the known world. Even with the people and organizations in which he is not that popular or fairly negative in relations, he is still highly respected for all he has accomplished within the city of East Haven. All Rath's known family is dead. He never married and is not aware of any children. Wealth and power are the only religious views that Rath had. Aw, man. Wealth and financial state. Very. Which is interesting. I like how this has a little comical feel to it. It feels like somebody's telling you the story. They're kind of breaking the fourth wall sometimes. It's just an interesting character and an interesting world. This here is like almost lined up exactly with the sidebar. I would probably just maybe click right here and enter down 2 times in the quote box just so it can extend down. It's just a pet peeve of mine that the sidebar is not at length with the rest of the text, but you did very well in trying to make sure it did. But if you just like enter down, tab down 2 times with this to show that the quote was said by him, but his name is like down here so that this can all shift down and it can be like right there lined up, that would be awesome. That's what I would personally probably do to make sure that it's the same length. I do like the character portrait. Very interesting guy. He's a dwarf, actually. So he just walked up in and he just took over. And he looks very stern. It doesn't seem like you want to mess with him. Even though he's a dwarf, he was able to assert his authority. And Dream Cartographer does say Rath's quite an enigma. Yes, he is. It's like he's so mysterious. He just came into town, he started taking over, and then everybody just respected him. And even those he didn't have good relationships with still knew who he was and respected him. Circumstances of birth, unexpected. Interesting. Yes, so he was 160 years old. Circumstances of death, old age, at least that is the story being told. So once again, it's one of those little cheeky articles where you can you have to take everything at face value, but it's like interesting, there must be more here. It's a mysteriously written article. Birthplace unknown, place of death, East Haven Adventurers Guild headquarters, office. He was in the office. Family, East Haven Adventurers Guild, because he didn't really have any other family. Current residence, East Haven Adventurers Guild. Dark gray eyes, bald with short, well-kept gray beard. Tanned and leathery skin, 5'4", and 210 pounds. Quotes and catchphrases. Everything has value. It just depends on who you are selling it to. Interesting. Yes, that is very true, though. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Just a little switch on that. That is very true. All the organizations that are aligned are East Haven Adventurers Guild because that was his life. I would say that this is a different 2 that doesn't need an extra O on it. But other than the other kinds of, a little bit of spelling errors, a little bit of grammar errors and stuff like that. This was a very interesting article, a very interesting character, and I would love to learn more about this world. I like how it was written. I like how it was like a story. It referenced Scrooge McDuck. It everything was making me smile and want to learn more. This whole article just made me smile and want to learn more. So thank you so much to JaxRedhammer for sharing this one. Katoypoi says, finished my article reading and actually chose my winner while on your stream. Congratulations! That is such an accomplishment. Yeah. Great job, Katoypoi. And I think that's worth a Also, let's see if Handsome Co-Host has something to do. Handsome Co-Host says, woohoo, I'm robo-dancing in my party pants. Dream Cartographer says, great job, with lots of cute emojis. So, yes, great job, Katoy Boy. I am so happy that you did this. Ha woke me up better than my coffee, says Katoy Boy. Sorry, but I believe that that was worth celebrating. You just had that prepared? What, says Dream Cartographer? Oh, I always have this nearby because... when you click the little wisps, it does tell you something that you can do. There is something to redeem that says celebrate, and there's a little yay on there. So if you want me to celebrate at any point in time during the stream, you can just spend 200 wisps, and I will do stuff like that. I will dance, and I will blow the little party popper, and Handsome Co-Host might do something fun as well. But yeah, that's why I have party stuff prepared. But I just decided to do that without spending wisps because I thought the Katoy Boy's success was worth celebrating. Yeah, so anyway, thanks to JaxRedhammer for this article. That was a very interesting one. I appreciate it. Yeah, and that one was read without the author present, so I will have to be sure to link this replay to them. Thank you so much. Now we're going to move on to Roya by Michael Chandra. Let me just make sure. Let me see, because some of these notifications that I have, I was not able to read through them because the weekend was quite hectic for me. So I just want to make sure that I'm able to do these things. Because I already did get permission to all these, as if you can see, my spreadsheet is organized, despite what you might think. It's organized, but sometimes people say, oh, well, I will be able to make it, so I don't want to read their article if they update me and let me know that they will be able to make it. I want them to be able to read on stream. But some people have said, go ahead and read it. I can't make it, just please link it when you're done. So that's what I do. And yes, Royal by Michael Chandra is the next one that falls in that category. Once again, though, if you are in the chat and you are lurking or something and you want me to read your article, please do speak up and click the little wisp icon so that I can know who your World Anvil username is and read your article right here while you're watching. But as for now, we're going to read about Roya by Michael Chandra. And this already looks like a sci-fi world or something like that. Interesting. Let's see. And this is a very short article, so it's fine. We can read the whole thing. Roya, the CEO of Cetus Corp. Roya is a person of unknown age and origin. Even her name is simply what she calls herself without a last name. Quite simply, before she became CEO, nobody had ever heard of her. Attempts to dig into her background have turned up no results. Even those that act as long-term allies do not seem to know much about her. There are many corporations out in space, old and new, one-man shows, and collective-run, kind and brutal. Cetus Corp originally was scientist-sponsored to investigate several Cetus star systems. After their research resulted in positive results in 2796 CE, suddenly Roya appeared and took over. With her, she brought plenty of money, enough to purchase multiple terraforming seeds. And there's a tooltip to that. Awesome. I love tool tips. Everything you need to kickstart terraforming a planet. Seeds, animals, DNA banks, plus all the required machines. Wow. So that is a very powerful kit that she was able to buy. Cetus Corp grew quickly, in part due to spending far less money on planetary defenses than others did. The fact that they still weren't harassed by pirates should have been enough to tip off that Roya had some good allies behind the scenes. But naively enough, Pisces Corp did choose to attack Cetus 47 in 2804 CE after their own terraforming attempts failed. The war ended up in a great loss for Pisces Corp, which called back its army and dissolved shortly after. So even though they didn't spend much money on planetary defenses, they were still very talented in defending their planet. So Roya is already an interesting character. I feel like a very mysterious character. I like those kinds of characters. It's mysterious. You don't know where they came from. They just popped up and they started taking over stuff, and you don't even know where they came from. 173 centimeters. I don't know how that translates. Let me just check real quick. Yards, foot. I said centimeter, not meter. I'm like, what? She's not this giant. Okay, she's like 4'6", which is about my height, so cool. Unknown weight, unknown age, assumed 45 to 70, which is quite a range. Almond skin, golden blonde hair, and cornflower blue eyes. Interesting character, and even though there's not a portrait, I can imagine her. And look at this. I like how Michael Chandra put this at length with the body, and then used a full width footer here, so that there's not just a naked space on the side bar, and the sidebar ends right here, and then next these words go across the page. And that is one of the suggestions I have for people when they have a long contents and the sidebar short. But yeah, this was very interesting. We can read a little bit more about that. Dream Cartographer says, you almost turned Roya into a space titan. I was like, no wonder she just came and took over. She's so huge. They're scared of her. But yeah, thankfully that was not. But even she's 5'6", and she came in and she just took over, which is very weird and epic. And she has some kind of behind-the-scenes ties, of course. People are speculating. Origin and modus operandi. There are plenty of theories where Roya came from and who she really is. Her massive wealth suggests she either made a killing somehow or came from money. Meanwhile, her connection suggests some form of stormfarer background, and there's a tooltip to what a stormfarer is: a pirate or adventurer that navigates the risky parts of the hypersea in search of profits, with their lives constantly on the line. She is well versed in corporate espionage and other nefarious business dealings, which suggest a corporate history. One of the bigger theories combines all these elements and has convinced enough people that it was novelized and inspired a fictional film series. Wow. They say Roya is one of the countless heirs of the hyperdrive fortune. Rather than getting her fortune for free, she was tasked to prove her potential. She then became a very successful space pirate and even was crowned a direwolf. After a lengthy pirate career that built her a large network of connections, she was granted her fortune. Then she burned her pirate identity and took control of Cetus Corp. Whether that theory has any base in reality is unknown, but a background like that would explain both her business savviness and pirate connections, as well as how she learned to fend for herself. As any surviving assassin can testify, Roya is skilled in personal combat, and there's plenty of assassins that can do so, as she often spares them and even hires them. Wow, so that's fun. People make attempts on her life, she defends herself, she spares them, and then she turns around and sometimes hires them. That is a powerful person there. Her entire personal guard was recruited this way. Wow. That speaks volumes to this character. A very interesting, mysterious character who knows her own worth and knows her own power. Speaking of assassins, which this article is like speaking to you like it's talking to you, which is nice as well. Roya doesn't shy away from hiring them herself. She also uses mercenaries, spies, pirates, whatever she needs to get the job done. It is rumored she has already succeeded at over 6 hostile takeovers, taking control over most corporations in the entire Aquarius area of the Hypersea. And this is a term used to describe hyperspace. I like those tooltip usage. This might seem like ridiculous gossip, but the amount of disappeared board members of the enemy corps suggests something foul is afoot. The smoke may be caused by an inferno. I like how this is written, and it's very interesting. This is a mysterious character, as Dream Cartographer says, power move. This character is powerful. The article is well written. The formatting is awesome. I do think I saw like a grammar issue or two, But other than that, very interesting article. And thank you so much to Michael Chandra for sharing this. That was a treat to read. Dream Cartographer says the smoke may be caused by an inferno. Fantastically ominous turn of phrase. Yes, it was a fantastically ominous turn of phrase, indeed. I see Scotstimberwolf is here. Hi, Wordy, managed to jump in. Hello. If I didn't read your article already and you want to get your article read, please do redeem a read my article, please, with one wisp at the bottom of your chat so that I can look up your article. But yes, once again, that was an interesting article. That was really written well. Formatting was good. Interesting, mysterious character. Thank you so much for sharing that, Michael. Next, we have Becker, Chief of the Rockhouse Tribe. Which I do not know if that's the full name, but we're gonna see. This is by Mutterwolf. And as I said, if you'd like me to read your article, if you didn't get your article read yet, please do tell me, and I will read it next. But for now, I'm reading articles that the authors were not able to make it, so I'm reading their articles in their absence. Alrighty, there's a map here. Interesting coloration. Becker, Chief of the Rockhouse Tribe. Ooh, interesting art as well. It's not too long of an article. Cover image as our GitHub fantasy map generator by Mutterwolf. So that's good. There's a GitHub fantasy map generator. Of course, that's what Mutterwolf used to make this map. So thank you for crediting that. Chief Becker. Rockhouse Tribe, very strong, very rich. Great Picker bring tribe to above. Picker lead away from the great grinder. Picker find stones, house to live in. Stop being Rock Eater Tribe. Now Rockhouse Tribe. Picker find iron weapons for tribe. Much good eat. Shiny. Picker choose best wives. Hopper lose good wife, but not mad. Picker good cheap. And this is what Hopper says, who is Grindylow of the Rockhouse Tribe. Interesting. So I see that a Grindylow must be a a species in this world. Interesting art for what they are. And that quote tells some, it shows how they speak. And it's interesting. It said, Hopper lose good wife, but not mad. Picker good chief. That makes me think, did Picker take Hopper's wife? Interesting already. Birthplace. Lots of tunnel place underground. Ruins east of Sujon is where they currently reside. Red squinty eyes. Red, brown, and spiky hair. Light gray, green, leathery skin. 3 feet tall. 30 kilograms. And Grindy is a language that they know. And I guess Grindy is the language of the Grindylow. The Grindylow are quick and agile. Picker is no different. He may be a bit smarter than most of his kind. Picker is a light gray-green skin tone, a bit pale compared to most Grindylow. He is fidgety and will have a finger in his ear, nose, or mouth frequently, if not otherwise occupied. Picker was recognized as an inquisitive Grindylow in the many tunnels Rock Eater Tribe. He explored many side tunnels and secret paths. He collected many good shiny stones. He also made good drumming. When the great grinder came to the tunnels, some went to fight it. Picker went too. Most were eaten by the grinder. Picker said he would leave. He beat many tribe members into following him in Grindylow tradition. His band fled to the surface by the secret tunnels Picker had found. They wandered and hunted the hills for several years before finding the ruins of a keep, which they settled into as home. In the ruins, a variety of decayed weapons were found, which improved the arms of the tribe. Picker's tribe grew since arriving above, and he has captured many wives. They now have enough numbers to attack big ones. Merchants and travelers need to keep alert. This may lead to a patrol or adventurers sent to wipe out the tribe, but Picker and the Grindylow don't know that. Like most Grandulo, Picker is fascinated by shiny and sparkling things, but is afraid of bright light. He avoids going about during the day. He likes rhythmic drumming and chewing on rocks, sticks, metal, or bones. By most humanoid race standards, Grandulos are somewhat mentally unstable, dim, but nearly constantly babbling and amazed by technology above stones, sticks, bone, and leather, which they do not possess. They have a small child's understanding of cause and effect and weak minds generally. Picker is motivated by safety, hunger, greed, lust, and sparkly things. He also seeks to make his tribe bigger, stronger, and better equipped. Hygiene. The Rockhouse tribe are a bit grubby by Grandulo standards since they can't find good sandy dust to scrub themselves with. By humanoid standards, they are dirty. Picker has a nice leather shirt in summer and a heavy furred one in winter. Picker will frequently bob or bounce on the balls of his feet when talking to someone. Picker has a grumbly, gravelly voice and a cackling laugh. Very interesting character already. Very interesting art, I would say. One of the things I would say, I see that this was drawn by you. Great. Putting your credits there. I would suggest maybe putting this quote in the sidebar and putting this picture in the sidebar. That way, it will probably even out the length of the article with the sidebar instead of having this naked spot here. But other than that, I think that the article is pretty well written. It tells a story. It shows like a lot about this species as a whole, and it tells a lot about how Picker carried himself and how he was able to just come in and take over and stuff like that. So this is very interesting and comical and it's intriguing. It makes me want to read more about this world. Thank you so much again for sharing, Mutterwolf. I appreciate you sharing this article. And great job on the art, both this map and the drawing. Very interesting. Yeah. Let me catch up on the chat. Scotstimberwolf says, hoping I have done this right. I'm terrible with Twitch. It's fine. Rose the Mouse says he seems to share some priorities with my giant leader. Yes. I did notice like some of the, you know, similarities of leaders that are focused on like money, greed, power, and yes, of course, like I said, starting out with this, all the way back on some of my summer camp streams, I was saying I know that some of the great leaders of their people are not going to be what everybody considers a great leader, because people are people. They have different personalities, they have different prerogatives, they have different goals in life, and they are like, you know, some people are going to say they're the best leader ever, and then some people are going to say they are horrible. Don't, like, why are you saying that they're a great leader? But still, anything can fit the prompt, because the prompt says a great leader of their people, and as long as somebody thinks they're great, they count. And stealing all the wives, says Rose the Mouse. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, forcing marriage is kind of messed up. But yeah, I understand some of these leaders, they're not perfect. As I said, these are humans. These are, or in the other case, it was a creature, but still, they have their personalities. If they're a sentient being who can make decisions, they're not going to be perfect. So it's totally fine to have a character that's not perfect. They don't have to be all perfect and upright for them to be considered in this category of great leader. A lot of times also, villains are not very fleshed out, which is annoying when you see a generic villain and they're just like, I'm a villain because I'm bad. Like, they have a personality too. They have a backstory too. And everybody's a villain to somebody else. So that's something to keep in mind. Oh, Rose Mouse says, Femur would also steal all the husbands. Giants don't really have gingers. Ooh, interesting lore in your world. Next, we're going to Kyla Valan by Scotstimberwolf. Thanks for sharing this article. It's quite a long article. It's not too long, but we will see. If I do have to skim through a bit, I apologize, but please don't think that it's because your article is boring or something. I just, you know, have a lot to get through. Once again, this is cute. This is a cute picture. Is this art breeder? Let me see if it's let me see if it is credited. No, it's not credited. Please do credit the art, Scotstimberwolf. I did see this somewhere. What is it? Oh yes. I saw that Watchman Deedley said that her son saw the character and said that a wolf is super cool and the girl is pretty. Yes, I thought this was the article. I did see that comment on, and that's true. The girl is quite pretty, and that is a cool wolf. Riding on a wolf like this is pretty cool. There was something under the picture, I think. Yes, there was. It just says Kyra Wolf Ranger, and it doesn't have credit to what it is. But I do know personally this is Hero Forge, and it does say Hero Forge there, so that's good. That's good. It does say Hero Forge there, so I guess that could be enough. But this here doesn't have anything there. But yeah. The other one does. So, yes. So the thing that this is, I did read it, but it's like in-world lore. It says the portrait above is taken from the Roll of Honor in the archives of the Rangers. So that's not credits, but it is. It's just in the world, which is good. I like a little tidbit of where this photo is taken from in the world, but unfortunately, it's not telling us where it's taken from in real life. Rosamouse says, I think it's an art breeder. Yeah, it does look like an art breeder to me. I do see that the ears are inconsistent, which is something that it happens in AI generated art as well. One earring is long, and not just the ear itself. It's you know, the earring, not just the earring, I mean itself. You see the ear. This ear is actually larger than that other ear, and this one is sitting up higher than the other one. But at first glance, it looks like a very interesting picture. And even when you see the inconsistent ears, and even when you see the inconsistent earring, it still is very beautiful and captivating, the portrait of this person. So it is nice. Scotstimberwolf confirms it is art breeder, yes. All right, so yes, so one of the things that you might just want to start doing is to credit your pictures, even if you just put it all the way down in the like the bottom footer or something, and just say pictures created by this, that, like, you know, that's one of the things World Anvil does advise you to do as well. This is quite long in comparison to the sidebar. Like, the body is longer than the sidebar, but I would see, like, there's a lot of things that we could do to make the body a little bit shorter, or to make the sidebar a little bit longer. So I would think that maybe this here, this quote, could be in the sidebar. This picture is quite big. It could be in the sidebar. Or I know that you're trying to break up the article and make it look cool. You could maybe show a different angle also in the sidebar, something like that, so that, to help extend the sidebar a bit. But that would just be my personal preference, because sometimes when you see this right here, and there's just a naked spot here for a long time, it's just kind of irking to me, personally. But other than that, the design of the article seems quite nice, and this looks like an interesting character already. So without further ado of all this critiquing of the formatting, I'm just going to get into the article. Rosamel says AI sites are super awesome way to get quick portraits. Drawing takes such a lot of time. That is so true. And personally, I try to like do all of my art. Sometimes I try to draw things, and I try to, you know, use photographs and stuff like that. But sometimes I'm like, it's like so much, so time consuming and frustrating sometimes. So it's great to just quickly. I've been known to use this person does not exist, which is a scary AI site. Where you just reload the page every time it's a new face. I've done that for like RPGs and stuff like that sometimes. But personally, when I try to do the articles, I do try to do the art, but I do appreciate people putting AI art in their articles. It's very intriguing as well to see all the progress that AI is making, and how there's been a big boom about AI lately. which I know that AI is not that new, but as of late, everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. Wolf Ranger, Hybrid Crystal Witch, High Ranger, Kyla, I was right the first time, Kyla Valan, High Ranger of the March. And this is a song of the march. It says, I speak of times long since past, where wars were fought and peace did not last. A great and terrible force was there to protect the land from darkness and despair. The Rangers fought for justice and peace. Among them was one that rode with great white beast, crushing the enemy, making them flee. This northern queen, our savior, was she. So interesting. I guess that was a little ballad that was made about this person. The savior of the song is speaking about is Wolf Ranger Kyla, and it tells what a Wolf Ranger is so we can know. She made a name for herself by her exploits in battle and her protection for the common people of the land. The image is from the Shard Wars Chronicle and shows Ranger Kyla astride her great white beast charging into battle. So a lot of this crediting, yes, I see that there's crediting of in-world image, but it's not real-world crediting. So it's nice how it shows that this picture is taken from the Chronicle and stuff like that. That's great. But also, outside of this world, if you don't want to break the world by putting credits in here, it's always still good to just put it in the footer. You can even put it in author's notes, and author's notes would appear right above the comments. So yeah, I understand if you don't want to break your world and you want to show where the real credits are coming from in the world. This was taken from the Roll of Honor in the archives. This was taken from the Shard Wars Chronicle. That's totally fine. That's actually great. That's great world building. But we still want to know personally for ourselves where where the picture really came from. So if you don't want to break the world to do that, just put it in the footer or put it in the author notes. Rosemouse says, I like using old painting too, since it fits my world better than many modern tools. Old painting? Is that a tool, or are you saying just like old paintings from random images? Because yes, I've seen people use like old paintings and old stained glass art and stuff like that. It's really nice, but yes, it's always good to credit where you're getting it from so that we can know. Once again, we see Kyla rose through the ranks quickly, which is funny because this is something that I've been seeing in a lot of the articles, rising through the ranks quickly. But like I said, that is a trait of a great leader, being able to rise through the ranks very quickly. Once she had completed her personal quest, she returned to the March Rangers, where she became the High Ranger and led the Rangers in defense of the people and land for 30 years. Being a hybrid with parents who came from the Forgotten and the North Frieslanders has given Kyla a very unique look. She is tall for a northern female, standing around 6 foot in height with a very pale complexion. It is obvious from her look. She is much stronger than your average female, yet she carries herself with the grace and poise of a lady with noble blood. She is physically fit, being a ranger, with an endurance far above most people, and she is fast and agile. Kyla is recognizable as from the north due to her pale complexion and her long, almost white hair and ice blue eyes. What sets her apart from the average northern female is her physical size and the paleness of her skin, I think it means, but the L and A are transposed. They abandoned Kyla at the gates of the witch's sanctum when she was just 3 months old. Abigail Trask, an initiate witch in the sanctum, took her and raised her as her own child, discovered her. Abigail is the only mother that Kyla has ever known, and the Crystal Witches the only family. When she was 18, she took part in the affirmation ritual to become fully inducted into the Order of the Crystal Witch. Kyla's ascent was unusual in that she was fully versed in red and blue magic, with no preference for either. To this date, she is still the only hybrid witch who is part of the order. Rejecting the life of a crystal witch and fueled by her desire to find out where she originally came from, Kyla set off to the ranch with a desire to become a ranger. So there's links to these things, which is good, so we can learn more about these things. That's why I put it in the chat, so you guys can learn more about the world and learn more about the character. To recap on that conversation with Rose the Mouse, she says, yes, old paintings, old enough to be public domain. Yes. So as long as they're old enough to be public domain, we still want to credit them, but of course you know you have permission to use them, which is good. What else did she do? While at the ranch, it became clear she had an aptitude for the training and that she could communicate telepathically with the animals of the forest. One day, while in the woods, a rare, pure white, albino forest wolf approached her. The wolf bonded with Kyla and has never left her side. This earned the Wolf Ranger name, the first and only non-Frieslander and non-male to be granted this honor. Kyla was instrumental in the war against the Shard Dwellers and being the person to unlock the inner crypt and defeat the demon guards at the Forgotten Citadel of Sinop. And there's links to these things. As she went through her life, she found her parents were from two different cultures and backgrounds. Her mother was a member of the Forgotten, and her father was a North Frieslander. Not sure how to pronounce that. There's not a link to it. I'm thinking the article is probably not done, but it's okay. This was a union the deeply mistrustful people of the Forgotten had frowned. So I guess they frowned upon this. They exiled her mother from their encampments. Unfortunately, her parents were killed when she was just a few weeks old, and her aunt had spirited her away to the south, intending to leave the baby Kyla in the care of the witches. In her quest for identity, Kyla tracked down and confronted the Zealot, who had ordered the death of her parents. Confronting him inside the citadel of Sinop, she killed him and gained justice for her parents' murder. Even though she could prove the Zealot had ordered her parents' murder, they still banished her from living in the lands of the Forgotten. She was a hybrid who had been touched by the power of the crystals, and as such, living amongst the Forgotten and learning the ways of her ancestors would have made her a danger to the world. She was educated at the Witch's Sanctum. She was instructed in the old ways of the world and in the ways of the red and blue magic. Becoming, I think is missing an E, a crystal witch at 18, she opted to journey to the march and joined the ranks of the Rangers, where she was instructed in the ways of a warrior. She became adept with the bow and the short sword and capable with the spear. However, she shied away from the long sword and the great sword, opting for speed over everything else. As an exponent of red and blue magic, she is able to enchant her arrows with fire and ice to enhance their damage. Having the ability to communicate with the great beasts of the forest and mountains have given her an unrivaled ability to command and control wolves, bears, and the large mountain cats, which she can then use to aid her in whatever task she is doing. Kyla is also one half Forgotten. This has given her the ability to read fluently the Forgotten language, which she has done in the past to learn how to control the crystal vibrations in order to use their power to enhance her own. So it wasn't that long of an article, but it's just this quote box and this picture I feel like maybe can be moved to the sidebar, and maybe putting some article blocks in the sidebar to help to extend it so that it is not too long past the body of the text. But yes, other than that, thank you so much to Scotstimberwolf for sharing that article. Very interesting character. Interesting world and nice art. Scotstimberwolf, I really love the poem at the beginning, says Dream Cartographer. Yes, that was an interesting addition to the world. Scotstimberwolf says thank you. The structure feedback was really helpful. Was never totally sure how to credit that, so it's super helpful. Also, Dream Cartographer has redeemed a someone say something. So I'm going to have to find something for someone to say in one moment. Let's see. There's something there. Scotstimberwolf says thank you. Couldn't resist any longer, says Dream Cartographer. Yes, so that's great. I was just about to say it's probably about time for me to end the stream. And what better thing to end the stream on than someone saying something. So let me see. Where is it? I have something somewhere. You know, this is the annoying thing about me, is that I'm not that organized. If you didn't know. Sometimes I'm organized, but then it's like, you know, those people who are organized, so then they don't, like, they know where stuff is and nobody else knows because they are only organized with them. Like, they're not really organized at all, but it's like they know where stuff is. Rose the Mouse says I have to leave for work anyway, so that's a good timing. Nice reading with you. Nice for you being here. I appreciate you joining us for the stream. Much success with work. I really just wish I could hurry up and find the thing that I'm trying to find. I had a folder. Thank you, Katoipoi. Katoipoi says thanks for stream. Let me quickly try to search. Here it is. I thought that I had. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right, and I'm going to mute myself so that you guys can hear.
Woohoo! What fun! Again!
Okay, so that was someone saying something. And once again, someone is voiced by the awesome John McNally. So, thank you for redeeming that, Dream Cartographer, and I hope that that was something that you thought was fun. Now, yes, I do have to go. The stream has been going for about 2 hours. I thank every single one of you who have redeemed something in the shop, who have shared your articles with me, and who have just been hanging out in the chat or lurking. I do wish you guys have a wonderfully, awesomely blessed day. And I do plan on streaming again in about 10 hours at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and gonna go through some more articles because I have so much to do, and Wednesday is the deadline. So, thank you once again to everybody. Dream Cartographer says, the jump scared me so hard. Someone, why? Oh, I'm sorry. I should have turned the volume down a bit, but I'm glad at least you did hear it. Yeah, so, yeah, I will try to adjust the volume. Some other people did say something about how loud he is. So, I'm going to try to turn it down a bit sometimes. I didn't expect it to be so maniacal, says Dream Cartographer. Yes, that was quite unexpected. Sorry again about that. But once again, I thank all of you guys for always joining me. I'm going to try to improve and do better all the time because I'm still new to this and I still don't know anything about Twitch. But I'm learning and growing as I'm going, and I will try to adjust the volumes a bit and get some stuff ready for me to just click so that I can have it on standby and not have to search for several minutes through my organized folders. But anyway, thank you so much again. I keep on saying thank you because I really do thank you. Love you guys, and have a blessed day. If you have to work, if you're going to sleep, I don't know what time it is. Happy time zone to you, and much success with all of your endeavors. All right, have a blessed one. Bye.